for an SC1. Branches might be around 30. A top branch at SC1 that wins and just is kicking butt might sell 40 or 50 for SC1. And that's normal. So what I realized that Kathy does that in their organizations, in her organizations, is that they do a lot of prep work leading up to this SC1. And where we generally start working and grinding when the summer just naturally happens, when mailers hit, which is, for anyone that knows, right, about that first week of June-ish, mid-June-ish, is when the summer just happens. It's automatically going to happen because that's when high schoolers graduate, that's when mailers hit, that's when calls start happening, and so office full of people naturally happens. So what they do in their organization, and what I think Kathy's been talking a lot about everyone, a lot with everyone about, is trying to make this thing happen sooner. And what they do then is it's about 5 weeks-ish or so, and those 5 weeks really start here this next week and the week after is when it actually kicks off, right? Is they go out and they start their blitz and they start recruiting, and what they're doing is they're starting to find their 10 to 15 people that's going to make up their SC1 alliance. That group is going to sell 120 grand. And then all of the recruits that they just bring in too, the natural recruits, which are hitting during SC2, that's going to add another 60 or so. And that's how Kathy's organizations will usually show up and have a $200,000 to $230,000 SC1. That's what usually happens there. Because that 60, 70 grand that always just happens anyway, usually for a district office, that still happens. But she found that other group of stunners, got them prepped with SC1 push talks, has an SC1 program in place, and they actually go and do a full alliance and stuff for them too. And they did this last year. I remember she said, okay, we're going to do the SC1 alliance, and not a single one of the DMs included, not a single one of us, not a single branch, none of us at all did the alliance thing. We were like, huh? Well, we do that for SC2, but I mean, you do what you're doing, okay? And we just did our regular thing. Got great results. But here's the thing that happens with their organizations is they have SC1 that looks like that. So our SC1, we need to have pushers that are ready, right? Usually it'd be folks like you guys, but you need to go find some new ones to get ready and have some of your assistant managers too that are ready to do it as well. They're going to be able to go and have 10, 20, 30. We need someone that's 40 or 50K winning SC1 for this year. But here's what happens. Generally, we have all of our kids that go out and they make the big paychecks. SC2, they're rocking. They're super, super positive, super pumped about the job. Level 10, this thing is awesome. And then it's August week 2, 2 more weeks, back to school. People start moving. People start doing whatever, and it's over. When they do it in SC1, this is the thing that I realized, is that all of that same awesome momentum happens. We have people that earn, their 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 grand paychecks, which is really exciting. And we're at the end of June. And then in Kathy's organizations, what happens then is where we usually have that recruiting bubble, get those recruits, and then prep those recruits to move into July. The ones that we get in late June, we move them into July for SC2. What happens is we have all of those guys that started before SC1, that were the top 10, top 15 pushers for SC1 in the office. Then we have that group recruited just naturally, the naturally occurring group, which is the one that we just usually focus on. And then this is what happens in their organizations. They get a huge influx in July of PRs that are all the people's friends who just earned 2 grand, 3 grand, 4 grand, 5 grand, 10 grand paychecks. They all come start the job the first 2 weeks of July. Bam, hit that, the same groups that they've had hit SC2, plus that new group that starts in those mid 2 weeks, all start the push. And that's how Kathy's organization will go and sell $300,000 plus for an SC2. All right? Kathy, what was y'all's biggest SC2, by the way? Yeah, $300,000. Because all of that combines on itself. Now we can do this. And so for us last year, the majority of offices that just did what we regularly do. Cool. We had I think we had 170 some grand office. I don't know. We beat this office, so that was the main goal. But anyway, what happened though is we had that number, and so did everyone else. It was kind of a regular summer. But if we look at the numbers, Kathy's organization, they did it out in West Houston, first summer ever, but they were still able to go put up what was your last numbers summer? New business, how much you sell last summer? 450, right? And that came from, they did 100 grand, if you guys remember, in SC1, 200 in SC2, and then about another 4, around that, with a little bit coming from CFC push. So we can do this exact same thing. It's very simple and very easy. And why is it so? Because the vast majority of people in this room, right, you've never been in a Vector Summer before, so that's cool. You've never been a manager for a Vector Summer before, too. That's freaking awesome, right? So as the district managers, that's one thing that we've been talking about for the past month is how can we get this prepared and how can we have the right mindset going in so we can make SC1 the same way that SC2 is. Because when we do that, we're going to have some really big numbers for our teams. And then the reason that I'm talking to you guys right now is that this is something that you as our new district managers and our branch managers need to be fully ready for, is that we need to get out there, we need to hit the ground running right now, right? So we need to be pre-interviewing people. We need to be doing the virtual interview program that they showed you guys the other day. We need to be setting up these training classes right now so that when summer's here, right, instead of being the regular branch manager that starts May week 1 and ships your first, $2 grand, which we give you a high five for because that's still awesome generally. Like, how can you be the branch manager that has a 10 grand week out the gate? Because you've been building it for a week or two already, right? That's very possible. Maybe not 10 grand, that might be a little high, but at least 6 or 7 grand. That'd be really cool. You'd be the top branch manager in the nation if you did that, right? So I think someone in this room can do that, one, but also I wouldn't be surprised if we had 5 or 6 people in this room do that. Now, not everyone's gonna, and that's okay. Not every single office in here is gonna be able to do this push, SC1 push like SC2. That's okay too, right? But if we're gonna move culture in the organization over the course of the next couple of years, realistically, we need to have 2 to 3 district offices that really kick ass for SC1. And we realistically need to have, I think, in my opinion, I think if we could get 4 or 5 branches, just freaking knock it out of the damn park for SC1, the same way we do SC2, that's going to start the culture shift. And I think we're going to get there. Right? Now then, would it be awesome if we all did it this year and holy shit, we put up SC2 numbers in SC1? We could. That's up to you guys, though, right? Because I take care of me and my people, right? I can tell you guys that, but at the end of the day, that's up to the other organizations. But that's a big thing that we need to do as a culture shift this summer, and it's a big culture shift. But we need to be talking SC1 the same way we talk up SC2. Because if we do that, better experience for people. We're gonna have people that hit 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand in the summer, right? Culver's a perfect example of this. How much did you sell from your fast start? $11,000 in your fast start, and then what did you do for SC1?
I did about 11,000 because I was very much.
All right, so $11,000 in your fast start. So you did 10K for SC1 push. That's cool. And then what did you do for SC2?
21.
21, and then what did you sell for the summer?
About 35, 40.
$40,000. So this is a perfect example. So $40,000 in the summer, this first summer, that's a perfect example of what we're talking about for reps. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And everyone can do that, and it's super simple. So then we get this concept, right? Everyone's in this room getting this concept. So then the question is, well, then what do I do? How do I get that? Well, you get one of these, you get your dates set, you know when they're going to happen, right? And you're promoting it and you're talking about it. I'm not going to give you a whole promotion talk. All you should know how to do that by now. If not, listen to an audio real quick. You did it live earlier? Fantastic. So anyway, one thing you need to do is know when your push dates are. You need to have that set in your calendar. You need to be ready for it. Those things are coming up. And the biggest thing, I would say, is you need to have all your events. These are great. Also maybe division meetings as well. And you need to know how many people you want in attendance to each of those meetings. I think Kathy's done this with the majority of everyone already in their caps. If you're a manager, you need to know that number. Because as a manager, you're going to be a new manager, you're going to have a million things going on. And there's a couple things you need to focus on. And one of the big things I focus on, because I'm a merchant builder, a visual, I need to see where I'm going to help me get there. The thing that I need to know is, okay, I need to have 10 at this event. Right? That first team meeting, I need to have 15 there. That big group one or whatever we're talking about. Right? So if I have that number, that'll be pacing for we need to be 10. For me, it's 15 new people, right? Because like in College Station, well, we can always get at least the 10 a.m.s to show up and we got a meeting. But we need new people, right? And that's a thing that we need to be focused on. You need to be focused on those numbers for yourself too. Because if you don't have that focus, there's no shit in the way it's going to happen, right? You're going to get like 3 people there when you should have had 10 people there. And you'll be like, oh man, I'm off. How are my goals? How am I going to yada yada be behind the ball? Because this is the thing that you have to realize, and you remember this. You remember this. Right now, everyone in here is going to be a branch manager, your district manager. Even though there's a ton of shit that you have no clue how to do, you know exactly everything that you need to know to have a successful summer. You know how to interview someone. You know how to talk to them and get them to show up to training. You know how to train them. You know how to get them to launch. You know how to get them to get a sale, right? You all know how to do that. If you do that, and then of course you know how to go recruit. You all know how to pass out a flyer, how to make a receptionist call, or how to train a receptionist to make those calls to. You know all of that. Those are all very, very simple things. But since you know all of that, you just have to focus on that. And then promotion of events. Because if you get the kids and you bring them to the event, the great thing is you have a phenomenal district manager team that knows how to put on. We run some kick-ass events. We're great at it. We could do it with blindfolded with our hands behind our backs. We're really good at that. So you get them there, and Jordan and Melissa, Jacob, myself, right, Eric, Wasim, Bobby, Matt, like we're gonna run a hell of an event. And you get them to the division meeting. They're going to be pumped to be on the team for the alliance calls, get them on the calls, get them to SC1. They're going to be fired up. Next comes alliance, Kathy's meetings. You guys went through the schedule earlier. SC2 alliance, division meet, SC2 division meeting, SC2 conference, push, all that stuff. We will take care of all of that for your kids. Your job is to go out there, recruit them, accept them, train them, get them to the meetings, and you're going to kill it. And for us, we need to know that right now is when we start talking about SC1. Because SC1 is going to be huge. SC1 is going to be gigantic. It's going to be the largest SC1 that Gulf Coast Division has ever had. I could project it as doubling our biggest ever, in my opinion. And if we do that, it's going to start this culture shift thing that we need to do for that. So there's that. The other thing that I have to say, which will be a few more minutes because I got started a little bit late. That's all right. But that's one idea. Is everyone clear on that idea?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. The next thing that we have to realize then is I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about how we can go about setting some huge pushes. Now, this is something that we're going to talk to you more about, so don't worry. As we get closer to actually SC1, you're going to get at the next couple staff meetings. We're going to have more talks about this. You're going to know how to run a push whenever it happens. But what I want to do now is for one of the first times that you guys may be hearing it, first few times anyway, I want to kind of go through it right now with you guys so you have some basic ideas on what you need to do to set up a big push for your people. Okay? So I'm not going in depth on this talk for Tom. I'm just going to hit some basics and we're going to get more in depth. But the more we hear things, the better, right? Okay, so setting up a big push. Some of you may know that traditionally the representatives from my office will tend to have some very large pushes, right? At all of the major events that we have in this division, one of my people is generally the number 1 or number 2 rep always for the past several years. How does that happen? Okay, so setting up a big push. You think about it like this: you're gonna have a number, you're gonna have a big goal, right? And then to get to that big goal, it's that idea of the big office goal. It's the idea of like eating the elephant, right? One bite at a time. So what do I mean by that? Then the only way to get to that big goal is if you have several people hitting their goals. And here's the thing with their goals, and I think there's a couple things you need to keep in mind when you're setting up pushes. One of them is expectations is big, right? So I start talking about my people about SC1 for my big pushers, for my that are going to be going out, my FSMs, my CSPs. I started talking to them about their SC2s, I guess, back in November, right? October, November, right around Halloween is when I usually start talking about it to them, right? The idea of like, okay, what are we going to sell? What are we going to go for? What are we going to do? How can we break that record, right? We'll see. We have some fun records to break. I think our divisional push record is like 50 grand or something. I don't know. Maybe that's the region. Our national push record, I think, is $76,000. And running the math and doing that, I'm like, okay, cool. All right, James, what do we need to do? How many 10K days do we need to have? Or how can we put together a string of whatever 10K days? It comes out to, but anyway, you run the different numbers to be, is it even possible to do that? Right. So one thing we're looking at right now is to see if it's possible for James to break a national record this year on SC2 pushes and sell 76 grand in 16 days, which would be pretty cool. Right. Is that possible? It's possible because someone else has done it. Right. Well, is it probable? Yeah. Right. So that's part of where the thing where you focus on trying to figure out how, and that's the fun part of the game, I think. But I think we can have them do that, and then if someone's doing that, guess what? It's not that hard. If someone like Jonathan's going to be like, okay, cool, well, you should at least try for 50. I mean, if he's going after 75, like if you're not trying for 50, what are you trying for? And so the big thing with me that I've realized over the years is that we're going to set the numbers bigger, and we're going to have larger expectations. So for all the branch managers in this room right now, we need to be thinking, how for your SC2 are you going to sell $30,000? Personally for your SC2, branches and new districts. I think that's a very basic, very simple thing. I've done lots of pushes with my people over the years, and I completely 100% believe anyone can do a $30,000 push as easy as someone can do a $10,000 push. It's just math, it's just numbers. Once we move beyond that 30K, there's skill set that comes into play. There's leads that come into play. There's qualifying leads that comes into play. There's different assistant systems and auto dialing systems and fair and show game that has to be played. There's a lot of different things that go into it once you get above that number. But $30,000 is just as easy to sell as $10,000. It's doable. So then you need to be thinking for you guys right now, how am I going to make that happen for myself? For some of you guys, it's going to be your biggest push ever. Right? And that's exciting. Here's the cool thing. For every branch manager in here, right, that's $15,000 you just earned after you get done with that push. And you'll probably hit your trip, and you'll do all that with the rest of that too. Be a great leader for your team. And if you're the branch manager and you're doing 30K, I bet you're going to have at least 2, 3, or 5 kids that do 10K with you from your branch. And that's how, as a branch manager, you put up 100K on the report. Pretty cool. Wow. So the thing that we need to, and so as I move to close this up there, that's one thing that I want you guys to be, that I always think about, is making sure you're setting your expectations high for these pushes. If when you're talking about it, it's not a little scary, right? Then you're doing it wrong. And then you're like, well, am I going to talk to a brand new kid about selling like 50 grand? That's crazy. They'll like cry. Yeah, probably. So you don't do it. Don't make your people cry. That's a good rule in general. Right? So what's a big thing that you guys that are brand new managers can focus on right now with your new people to help them get ready for bigger pushes? Because here's the deal. We'll help get the kid ready to sell 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand for their pushes. What you do, and this isn't me, this isn't Kathy, this isn't your DM, this is you as the branch manager, you as the new DM. You get them to a 10K fast start. 10K fast starts like clockwork are going to make everything happen. 10K fast start's easy. You get a good kid that sold $1 grand their first weekend, that has 50 names and numbers on his list going into Monday. Make sure he has at least 50 and has time to do 40 demos. Sit down with him, talk to him, do the 10K PC. They do 40 demos in 10 days, and they sell 10 grand. It's simple. It's easy. You just have to be there for them. And we're not going to do a whole 10K fast start talk right now, but that's what you do. That's the biggest thing you can do to affect this push culture right now. When I was assistant manager in College Station, by the way, a long time ago, many years ago, right? I learned how to do a 10K PC at one of these meetings. I went home that weekend. I did a 10K PC with one of the new reps on our team. He sold $10,000 in his fast start. Jake Sutherland. The very next week, I did it again with another guy named Andrew, and then another guy named Spencer. Andrew did $11,000 in sales in his fast start, and Spencer did $17,000 in sales. I did that as an assistant manager, not the branch manager, not the district manager. As an assistant manager in my office, I personally coached. I personally coached 3 reps to over $28,000 in sales in 2 weeks. It's simple, right? You can figure it out. So that's the other thing I wanted to say. And then the last thing I talked about, plans and dates. Have to have your plans and dates. Your kids have to know what's coming up. And then the how-to. How-tos are simple. We'll talk about this more in the future. It's PCs, it's alliance, and it's management. Just manage them through the push, help them manage emotions. We're not going to go into that talk right now. We'll deal with that, as we get closer. But the setup is pretty simple. And then the only thing that you have to be doing is having the conversations. So when I said I start talking to my guys back in the fall about it, I'm not like, all right, let's have a big PC about your push. No, we're just at dinner or we're out like getting a drink or something. Like, hey, it's a super simple plan. Like, hey, do you think you could get to like a $30,000 push? I don't know. That might be too big. I'm not sure. I don't know. Something to think about. And then I just leave it and walk away.
Just put that there.
And then they'll think about it, and they'll be like, oh, cool. They'll do the math. They can figure it out. They'll ask you about it, and then you're good to go. But this group of people right here, the vast majority of you in this room, I think 80 to 90% of this room should be having at minimum $10,000 pushes. And for the branch managers, I would be disappointed if I saw anything less than 2/3 of that group do $30,000 for SC2. And SC1, your job is to train them and recruit them. And if you do that, it's going to be a pretty exciting summer. So those are a couple things that I wanted to leave with you guys. I don't know if Kathy said this, but I wanted to say one thing real quick about the event this weekend. So for some of you guys, this is the first time you've been to a region-wide event. Maybe you guys went to Year-End Banquet. Year-End Banquet is a different vibe and a different energy than summer kickoff. Year-End Banquet is about celebrating the previous year. People are having fun. There's some parties in the hotel rooms. We're having some drinks. It's a great time. We're celebrating all the accomplishments for the year. It's fun. This event this weekend is not that, okay? And that's one thing that I just wanted to let you guys know, because we have lots of young people in this room. Now, for those guys that know me, all you guys know that I am all about having a great time. And I have a great time the majority of my life. And I will have drinks the majority of my life too, and I think that's perfectly fine. But here's the deal, and this is the important thing. This is why I want to tell you this: is that for this event this weekend, I show up to this kickoff event. And this is one of the events that I show up to. I say, okay, shit has to get done, right? And we're here for a reason, and that reason is to prep for our offices, get things ready, get things set, right? Because you haven't done shit yet to celebrate, so there's no reason you should be doing that, right? So at this event, it's important that we show up right, we show up on time. And some of the things that some of you guys might want to hang out and stay up late and somehow figure out how a 21-year-old can buy you beers. No, we're not going to do that, okay? Because that makes us look poorly in front of the entire division, and that's not something we're going to be okay with. And if that's something you decide you have to do, then I guess you and I will be having a little bit of talking, because that's not something that we're going to be known for in front of the rest of the divisions. And don't be the person that embarrasses GCK, because if you are, don't be in GCK. So I just want to say that. But with that, though, this is going to be a great event. I'm super pumped for this. This is one of my favorite events every year. You're going to leave this event and be on freaking fire and ready to go build a kick-ass organization. And trust me, I'll be the very first person to be celebrating with you when we get to Lemo Nights after these kick-ass pushes. I'll have all the bottles pre-popped. So with that, though, I wanted to say that, and then just, Kat, do you have any final words for anything?
You need to be at the hotel at the Hilton, and we'll post that again by 10:30 tomorrow morning. Park is ready to roll. Big financial workshop starts at 11. Great food with you. We've got some lunch between that and then the region conference. But at 11 a.m. sharp, out of stock, is starting the financial workshop. By the way, That's an invitation, not an obligation, but I think it makes a huge statement to us as a management team, to you guys, to Lloyd, seeing people that are excited about learning how to build wealth, get better. And Adam is my financial coach, by the way. So he'll be there talking about building wealth, and I strongly recommend getting there by 10:30 and joining me for that. It's going to be an amazing breakout that he's running. And then we'll go into the region. So they couldn't require it for everyone because people are flying in tomorrow. We're local. Let's be there. Let's beat everyone. Let's make more money. Let's build more wealth.
And myself and the other managers, we'll usually we sit in blocks together. So we'll have a block of tables for the events. We'll all be seated together. And generally, you want to sit like you would like to sit with your district teams or whoever your district manager is, whatever. We'll usually sit as groups that way. And we'll get a group close. We'll get a block closer to the front.
Yes.
And here's the thing that's important with that, though. If we get a block close to the front, we all have to be there on time, looking right and acting right, because we don't want to be that group. But we haven't been that group in a while, and I think this group is a lot more professional than lots of groups we've had in the past. I don't think that'll be a problem. But all right, that is that. I'm very excited for this. Some of you guys will be doing a lot more talking. Are we still doing that? Okay, cool. So we're gonna do a quick round robin from a couple of the vets. Go ahead. Of what we're excited about for the summer.
Is for all your chairs, it's color coded. This is like super picky. So if you're sitting in like a beige, that would go by default. If you have cushion, that would go in a separate one. And I'll rearrange it so it speaks. That's not the one thing I like to do. That's the thing I'm excited about the summer is for this to happen. Like here in just a second. So cool. Go ahead.
Bobby and stuff.
Are you gonna top that, Bobby?
Yeah.
I am just excited
I love it. Miss Maryland, what's something you're excited about for the summer for this team?
I'm excited about selling $1 million, about developing a legacy of leaders, and coaching, talking to all the assistant managers in the division.
Awesome. Mr. Bell Roberts? We can't hear you.
Excited about meeting some people this summer and saving a lot of money. So we'll be going on some more trips.
I love it. Number one in my heart, Miss Halepsik.
I'm excited about helping make getting to friends.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
the way
it.
it
Care
cruise
for the
will be
people.
awesome.
The cruise is so fun.
Oh my God, I love
I am most excited for this summer to grow our team, I think, and make some really awesome systems in place. I'm really excited for our team this summer because we're going to be setting up the organization that leaves a legacy in College Station this year, and I think we're going to see some huge numbers. Record-breaking summer is what I'm excited for, and to win all the trophies. So if anyone else wants to try, I'll throw down. Just let me know. It'll be fun. Anyway, and then Mr. Wasim Raymond.
I just got back from the country.
Really though.
And the thing that I'm most excited about is just from my experience, we have an amazing life here. We do. Like on a day-to-day basis, I cannot explain to you guys the amount of freedom we have as Americans, the amount of everything, and not just as Americans, but as people working here at Kutch. Like the blessing that we have, and a lot of us, including myself, and a lot of you guys, we take it for granted. We take this job for granted. We take these meetings for granted. We take we're going to a bar after this to go play pool. Like you guys take that for granted. I take it for granted. My point being is the summer is one of those times that no matter where you're at, whether you're having a really shitty campaign or you've had one of the best campaigns of your life, this summer in Vector is that one time where you can turn everything around and be in a completely different place in 3 months. And I've experienced that every summer on this job. I can promise you, no matter where you're at right now, you might be the person in the room that didn't get to speak at all, that nobody even really talked to. You felt really awkward at this meeting. You didn't really know anyone. I was that person at meetings in the beginning. I remember. Don't worry, the summer's coming. This is the time that you get to make a name for yourself, and this is the time where you get to set yourself apart from your peers, not through like being wealthy, not through having a lot of connections or anything, but through your sheer work ethic. And that's the thing I'm the most excited about. The reason GCK always wins It's because we fucking outworked them.
Yeah.
Let's go to the bar.
Go! We bring champions! In case they didn't say it, we're going to Slick Willie's. It's literally 2 doors down.
Yeah, it's like a minute away, 3 minutes walk. Yeah, there's pizza.
Wait, Kathy, is there apps and stuff there, or do we have apps and stuff there, or no? Okay. Gotcha.
I gotta take my
If you want more pizza,
Very nice, Jordan.
Thank you, Jordan.
And my other friend.
I was kidding.
Where? Address is in Jerusalem.
Oh, yeah, dude, I'll have it.
I'm gonna have it before May 7th.
I actually have
I know you weren't invited.
I was busy.
I didn't even tell you the date.
I actually
We all go in.
Johnny Ball.